even get to cross.
As I stepped inside the theatre for a film of the duration of 1 hour and 38 minutes, barely being advertised and following a similar format for a production company, several questions and doubts popped in my head. Is Mr. Mummy as much of a sorry excuse of a story as was Plan A, Plan B? Is it putting minimum effort in a film that could have been wacky and fun had it been infused with a better director at the helm of affairs? Is there an absolute delusion with the way a film like this should be marketed and how it stands no chance in competing with other releases theatrically? Is the sincerity of actors like Ritesh and Genelia completely squandered because the people behind the scenes ruined the ability of people to have fun with such an out-of-the-box subject? Is this just the case of a production company cutting its losses strictly from a business point of view? All of these questions popped in my head when a presumably interesting subject is dealt with such terrible editing, staging and direction. Yes, you'll be surprised on how this movie and the debacle that it turned out to be is not the case of every department being a hot burning trash can. But it's a classic case of the journey from script to screen being so butchered and bastardized, so much so that you get a high-budget YouTube skit rather than a movie. A film not borrowing the idea from the Marathi film Ishya despite comparisons being drawn. A man-child Amol, played by Ritesh Deshmukh, is a disgruntled Sadu, an aspiring cricketer who due to injury ends up being a PT coach in a school and is married to Guglu, played by Genelia D'Souza. While Guglu loves and wants kids, Amol, owing to his injury being caused by kids, has an aversion and hatred towards having any. Due to the confusion, an unplanned pregnancy occurs and the husband starts to show signs of the same symptoms as his pregnant wife. The turmoil that ensues in their marriage and the resolutions that are found forms the basic storyline of this odd and frustrating film. Shad Ali directing this movie is absolutely dated in his form and execution. A man known for films like Bunty or Bubbly and Satya has definitely not evolved with the changing times. While this might be a production decision, from the very onset you realize that this movie has absolutely no business being set in the UK. This is a story that would have been far more compelling if the same characters were in a small hill station or town in India and Amol worked in a boarding school in the same city. I wonder whether the original intention was exactly that. The discussions regarding the turn of events in the married couple's life would have resonated way easier in a setting where everyone is nose deep in other people's businesses. The marketing strategy makes me also think about how certain projects are strictly business moves being written off, and seeing what a washout of a show Tara vs. Bilal was, another property from T-Series that is eerily set in the UK as well and was not promoted in the slightest, and these are films that could have easily been set anywhere in India with a quarter of the budget. You start to wonder whether projects intended originally to be somewhere in India are advised to relocate to an international location, completely changing the context and impact of the said storylines. That is some food for thought for all of you, as another project comes next month, also set in the UK. The most striking quality of this movie having no business being set in the UK is the school that Amol teaches in, filled with Desi students dressed up as Boy Scouts speaking in Hindi to a Desi principal, and having discussions about racism, white lives matter, and each Brit flinging out insults like imbecile and termite. The saddest element of Mr. Mummy is that it absolutely squanders the opportunity to capture the chemistry between Ritesh and Genelia. A lightning in a bottle, as everyone would remember that they were exceptionally cute together in Tere Naal Love Ho Gaya. The problem is solely the direction of the film. Each scene where both the characters interact with each other, the director captures them in solo shots, sometimes even making you feel that they have shot for the sequence separately. An attempt to be inventive by breaking the fourth wall and vocalizing inner thoughts turns out to be an absolute miss, because it never stays consistent with the screenplay. The film exudes one terrible gag after the other, which is followed by a song that makes you genuinely think that this was edited like a last-minute school project. A music video of seduction is followed by an over-the-top fight, and within minutes an emotional song of a rekindling that makes you oscillate through emotions but feel nothing. I have to say that Genelia has not aged a day since Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Na, and she possesses the same spunk and charm as she did when she was actively working, but that can't paper over the cracks at all. Whosoever styled Ritesh Deshmukh and advised him that the mustache was a good idea was definitely pulling a prank on him. Ritesh overdoes everything despite the film being a wacky and campy subject. His delivery and forced animated expressions actually make me believe any other comedic actor could have been more convincing in this role. The reason why I say this film is lost in translation from script to screen is because you can see the potential of the writing by Shad and Ananya Sharma, but it is captured so awfully that none of the inventive comedic sequences ever land. Whether it be Ila Arun and Rakesh Bedi as in-laws fearing that they'll never see each other, speaking to each other as if they're dating one another, or Mahesh Manjrekar as Dr. Satsangi, having zingers every time he appears, like calling someone as useful as a fork in a soup bowl, and casually singing a Kante song like Jaane Kya Hoga Rama Re before someone enters his room. A case of a journalist slipping up views for news and saying all Twitter buzzwords like toxic masculinity and misogyny generated some laughs. But the treatment is such it has the capability to absolutely pull out your hair in frustration. The issue is that the film is confused on what it wants to be. It's neither a social comedy, nor a cute romantic comedy, nor is it a slapstick fun film. It's just a khichdi dealing with an interesting subject lazily, almost as if it couldn't care less about its quality. If you still want to see something breezy regarding the topic of pregnancy, which is even shorter in its running time than Mr. Mummy, I would recommend you watch Wonder Woman on Sony Live. Yes, it might be a little too sweet for your liking and the conflicts are not as intense as one would presume with such a topic, but it does present a nuanced take regarding pregnancy and the several stories of mothers dealing with caring for a child. It definitely accounts for a heartfelt movie experience. I won't lie, it has the ability to make you cry also in moments. I can't say the same for Mr. Mummy though, even though it made me cry for several other reasons. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below of this phenomena of production companies and half-assing their marketing and quality of movies. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.